We are Makilala TV, the first Filipino-American TV talk show in the New York metro area. Get to know us as we talk to the community leaders, innovators, advocates, and emerging artists who affect Filipino-American life.
Directed and produced by three-time Tony and Grammy Award-winning Broadway producer Jet Tolentino, in his directorial debut, Asian Persuasion is the outlandish story of a down-on-his-luck chef, Mickey, who cooks up a crazy scheme to marry off his ex-wife, Avery, by setting her up with a fake internet dating profile in an attempt to find her a suitor to remarry in order to avoid alimony obligations. With the help of his trusted wingman, Caspian, Mickey gets off to a hot start until he realizes he wants a second chance with Avery, but it might be too late. Written by first-time screenwriter Mike Eng, Asian Persuasion tackles the subject of divorce, exploring nonlinear romantic relationships, and celebrating the cultures of the Asian American diaspora in a relatable and heartfelt way. I, Rachelle Ocampo, am joined by my lead co-host, Cristina Pastor, and guest co-host, Marivir Montebon, while Jen Fuhrer is away. We are pleased to have special guests from Asian Persuasion on Makilala TV, including director-producer Jet Tolentino, writer-producer Mike Eng, and actors Dante Basco, Paolo Montalban, and Geneva Carr. So let's get to it. Um, Jet, I feel like that this is your first film as a director, so you've really only been a producer, like the financial backer. What did you learn from this experience?
Hi, Rachel. Rochelle, thank you for having us, the entire team of Asian Persuasion. What I've learned from this experience is it's really empowering. You know, I've been a producer for a decade, 18 productions on Broadway in 7 years, and I've done a few films also. And I thought it's time for me to rise up from the ranks and contribute to storytelling from authentic Asian voices, and I'd like to be a part of that.
Mike, my question is for Mike. Mike, is the film autobiographical? And
Uh,
how did you get to give it life?
yeah, it's loosely autobiographical. I was going through a divorce at the time that I wrote it, and this was sort of my catharsis in a way. And I love comedy, and comedy's kind of what I use to get through a lot of things. So I just ended up um, writing a movie, and it randomly, here we are. Thanks to Jet, thanks to him reading my script and really bringing it to life, and then these amazing actors that are so brilliant made everything really work.
Hmm.
I love that. And Dante, what is the story about Asian Persuasion that appealed to you when you first heard about it?
Well, first and foremost, it was working with Mike and Jet. I knew them from other things, especially Jet Tolentino. The Filipino creative community is pretty close knit, and everyone knows each other. So we've been proud of Jet for many years, and so an opportunity to work with Jet was amazing. And then when I read Mike's script, and me and Mike are around the same age, and just someone who wrote the voice of a guy from our generation, Filipino guy, kind of got like a hip hop, grew up in a hip hop kind of generation, and there's the voice of that in there. And then for me, I've been around the industry for so long since I was a very young kid, and so to starting to play these adult projects is a lot of fun and just a great transitional role for me as an actor also. So it was just a great opportunity.
I have a question for Geneva.
Mhm.
How was your preparation working for a full Filipino cast or Asian
It was
cast?
pure joy. Well, I got a phone call from Jet, and I was so thrilled to be offered the role and come on board. And I am just excited to be a part of a movie that's a culture that I personally didn't know. And now I feel like an honorary member of the Filipino community. And I'm thrilled to be going to the Philippines. And I love a movie that celebrates uh, a culture that hasn't been celebrated before. And I tell people, you don't have to know anything about Filipino culture to love this movie, because at the base of it, it's a love story. It's two people that really should be together, and it's funny, and it's pure-hearted, and I think people are going to love it. But I think it's a great opportunity to showcase the Filipino community in New York City that I didn't know.
What was your role, Geneva?
Well, again, when Jet called me, I thought, oh, this is perfect for me. I play a French woman who is a bit of a cougar. So I thought, oh, he knows I'm a cougar. He knows that I lived in France for many years and I'm bilingual. And when we were on set, I was like, oh, can I improvise? And Mike was like, yeah, no. Because I thought, oh, they want to use my French, but they didn't. So I thought I was handpicked because of the French, and I was married to a Japanese man. I thought that was obvious. I thought, for all the right reasons, I'm a team player on this movie.
That was hilarious. Your role was really, it cracked me up.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I have another question for Jet. Jet, how did you manage to finish the film despite financial challenges, COVID, things like that?
Oh, you're on mute, Jet.
I'm so sorry about that. I have to say that this is where my producing experience came in. After I've been through hell and back. But then again, in all productions like this, and actually this is probably one of the low budgets that I've ever worked on. So it wasn't. I knew that we were gonna get through it. It's just a matter of connecting with the right people, and we have this cast and crew who are also willing to take us to the home run. And again, uh, so experience and collaboration with a lot of people and from the community. So that's what finished us. Took us to the finish line.
Can you tell us the budget of the film?
I think I think it's public. It's the budget was $2 million.
Oh,
Wow. I have a question for Dante, because I remembered a scene where you were making ube pancake, or was it chocolate pancake?
Ube pancakes.
Yes. So did you practice making it, or are you really into pancake making?
No, it's movie magic there to help us out. But I am into. I'm a foodie for sure. So playing a chef, and I love food. I love Filipino food, and then I love where the Filipino cuisine has been coming up in America with some really amazing chefs out there, Michelin star chefs now in America. So it's cool to represent them.
That made the story really like flavorful, Filipino
and
flavor.
authentic.
I
I
love
actually have a question for Paolo and Dante. What kind of a director was Jet?
that. Uh-oh.
Paolo,
good.
let's start with Paolo.
I love working with Jet. I mean, Jet, you're fantastic. You're fantastic because you know exactly what you want for that shot. And when you're shooting a movie like this on location in New York, you don't have a bunch of time to rehearse it with your fellow actors or with the director or with the writer, Mike. And so I'd just be like, Jet, what's the vibe? What's the vibe for the shot? What do you need here? And he'd give it to us right away, and it'd be perfect. At least for me as an actor, it felt perfect to work with, and really organic and immediate, and just a really great way to drop into the scene with my fellow co-stars.
Yeah, Dante?
Yeah, Jet, I would say more than anything, he's a very kind director, very kind and collaborative, and I've never felt stressed by him throughout the project. Very collaborative. We talked a lot about the role, what's going on, where the character's mindset's at, and he's just, he comes from a producing background, and we both have produced films, so I can see how he looks at the project as a whole, and how he's putting it together. But he has a lot of control, and he has a lot of grace as a director. So it was a pretty easy project to get through. on the artistic side.
I love to
That's
hear
kind of
that.
like Jet as a person, right?
Oh yeah, and I mean
Oh, yeah.
that's how it is. We're artists. Like the way you are, a lot kind of translates to the way you work, and that's really how Jet is. Really kind and graceful kind of person. What she brings to his art, which is beautiful.
Yeah, Rochelle.
And he's
So,
calm
Calm.
I'm,
Well said,
I love
Janine.
in the
that.
Well
face
said.
of, challenging times in the middle of COVID. His
Yeah.
calmness really made a difference.
Mm.
And Geneva, you mentioned it earlier of like how the story can relate to even non-Asians, um, it being a love story. So I'd like to actually direct this next question to Paolo. So you, Paolo, you've mostly been associated as Prince Charming from Cinderella with Brandy, and now working with this love story, both trying to set you up with lead women. How has this love story made you feel different?
Uh, well, it's what's great about this particular love story is that it's not quite a fairy tale, but in many ways, Lee still is a bit of a Prince Charming, but maybe not quite as graceful through life as a regular Prince Charming. Well, actually, the other Prince Charming was a bit awkward too. So maybe it's not all that different at all.
So Jet, how did you get Casey? Was she
Oh,
hard to get into the film, or was she a busy
yeah,
actress?
yeah. At that time, she was studying gemology in Los Angeles, and at that time, while I was looking for someone, I went into her IG and I saw her acting reel, and I'm already familiar that she has a FAMAS, which is our local Oscars in the Philippines. So that I know from the get go. And then I slid her a DM, and I never got any answer because she doesn't read DMs one superstar should not do. So and I was like, so I called Sharon because I've been friends with Sharon for a long time now. So and I just said, yeah, yeah, and I said, Sha, where is your daughter? Asan ang anak mo? And she was like, she's in LA. Said, can you please tell her that I sent her a message on Instagram and that was that. And right after that, I got a call from Casey.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. Jet, I have a question for you. You think the successful Dear Heart concert of the parents of Casey will push the release in the Philippines of Asian Persuasion?
I hope so. I was actually at the concert. Casey invited me, and it took me back also because I grew up, in that kind of love team. It's very predominant here in the Philippines, and I feel sad that the film was not mentioned in the concert, but respectfully so because it's about them, right? It's about the celebration of all the fans who really supported the Love Team from since 1981. Can you imagine that? 42 years, and then with Casey as the product of the Love Team, and I I it, I actually teared up because when Casey was brought up to stage and Sharon apologized to her, both with Gabby, for not providing her a complete family. That's where actually everybody just got like crushed in the audience. So that was very beautiful. And yeah, no promotion as to anything that they do. It's all about the family dynamic. So just beautiful.
It
So
will be
Mike,
So
if I may ask, Mike, how did your personal story end? Did it end the way the movie ended?
Well,
Without telling us the plot of
yeah,
both your
no,
story and the film story.
no, things. I mean, it was autobiographical only to a certain degree. Right now it's, obviously I didn't go try to find anybody online or anything like that. But the most important thing for me, I think, was to write a story that showcased divorce in a different light. Because when I got divorced, it was devastating. But what saved the last few years since the divorce really has been co-parenting and having just a very healthy respect for the the other person in the relationship and prioritizing our daughter first. So I really wanted to create a story that was like, hey, you can look, divorce doesn't have to be the end of everything. My story is about, kind of second chances. It's kind of about, the other side of divorce that's not as ugly. It's not a Kramer versus Kramer kind of thing. It's a different kind of a thing, and I wanted to showcase a lot of things that I felt in my life because I had gone through divorce. I'd felt that myself. And, just my Filipino American experience, I was not seeing it in the movies the way that I see it in my own life. And so, for better or for worse, I just sat down and I said, let me just write something and let's see where it goes. And I had really no idea. I like started writing, then I Googled like how long, how long a script has to be for a movie. And it was like 100 pages. And I was like, oh, I actually have a script. I don't really know what to do with this. And it was like half a year after I wrote it that I was, Jet was in my studio to do some editing work at Planet X, our studio in Brooklyn, and we went to lunch, and that's when I sort of made my
pitched it to him.
yeah.
I love it.
How is it
So
working
my
with
next story.
How is it working with Jet, Mike? He told me that you were eating adobo during the pandemic while writing.
Yeah. So the funny
So
thing is,
that's not-
after I had sent him my script, he had sent me a text so cryptic. It was like, "Hey, just read your script. We need to talk." And I was like, "Ooh, what is this?" So I didn't really know. Me being Filipino, I'm always like, "Hey, food first. What can I do to get him some food so we can both be eating food while we talk about this movie?" So I had cooked a chicken adobo at home. And I had one of these like Japanese thermoses that had like multiple layers. So I made like the sinangag, I made like the egg, I made all this stuff, and I sent the adobo like over to him. And I was eating the adobo at home as well. And then we both were eating while talking about my film. No, Jet from the very start. I've known Jet for many years, even prior to doing this. Um, and from the very start, we've had such a good friendship. And it translated very well into just a collaborative relationship on this movie. We agreed what we wanted it to be at the beginning, and we agreed that we wouldn't compromise our values, wouldn't compromise quality, wouldn't compromise anything to make this movie. We said if we need to do something good, let's just raise more money to make it happen, and let the community help us carry this. And they really did. And not only the community, but like I said, the actors and crew. I mean, everybody went way above and beyond, and is still going way above and beyond to rep this film. And it's amazing to me, and I'm constantly just in awe of our community and things we're doing with this. So it's really been beautiful.
Which brings me to my next question for Jet. Jet, what is the most expensive segment of filmmaking?
Oh, most expensive.
Is it a talent fee?
No,
Is it a technical?
no. For us, it's the location.
The location.
Yeah, I mean, we shut down a museum twice. So yeah, and that museum was $24,000 a day. And then you shut down an iconic Chinese tuxedo. Sushi Baibu, Central Park, another park in Queens. So, and every time you do this, you also have to fill it up with people around it. And not just that, you have to pay the location, the green room, the holding area. So not just the location itself, you have to rent another place where the actors and crew can eat, where they can change safely and privately and all that stuff. So I would say that would be that. And next would be the equipment. Yeah.
Equipment.
Oh, I see.
Renting the equipment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my next question is actually for Dante, Paolo, Geneva. Can you share any memorable moments or anecdotes from filming?
I wish Kevin were here because
Why? Tell us.
all mine
Tell us
involve
what
him.
happened.
He's really funny. I'll just say this: he was really nervous to kiss me, and that really cracked me up. He would kiss me, but he wouldn't really finish the kiss, which was kind of funny. Like, well, I was waiting for the end. Because he's a
Evan.
gentleman. He's a real gentleman. I actually, Jet arranged a meeting for us before, just so we could know each other a little bit before we had to film together. Because our first scene, we had to kiss, and he's a gentleman. And he was really nervous, and it was really, really endearing. That's my funny story.
I think for me, working with Paulo Montebon was just great and memorable. Paulo, we kind of grew up as younger actors together. When he came to LA, what was that? Was that the 90s, or what are we talking about? I don't know.
We're talking like the late 90s, early aughts.
Late
That's
late
right.
90s, early
Yeah.
aughts, and we were young, like the two young Filipino actors up against each other, working, but always were very friendly with each other, but never got the chance to be on screen together. So having this opportunity, when Jet told me who they're thinking for the character and Paulo, I was super excited. And then the scene that we did together in Central Park was so cool to be able to shoot in New York in Central Park, so iconic. Reminds me of so many movies I've seen over the years, from Harry Met Sally to early Woody Allen movies, and to have an audience of people watching us and give us applause even as we're doing the scenes, it was really a really special moment.
That, yeah, I would definitely have to say that was strangely cool when they applaud. Well, it's mostly for you because you were crushing that scene, Dante. You're crushing that scene, and it was really, really lovely, because the people who were applauding were just like bystanders. They weren't even being paid. They're just people walking through Central Park. So that's definitely one of my highlights. Another highlight that sticks in my mind is we were actually shooting a scene where Dante and Kevin are scheming with me. They're kind of like setting me up on my first bump in date with Casey's character, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to see them when the camera was shooting Casey and I. So I asked, I don't know if Jet knows this, but I asked one of the PAs to take a screenshot of the monitor of what you and Kevin were doing in your coverage. And when I looked at it, I was dying, because your improv was off the charts, hilarious, man. It was so good. It was so good. The chemistry that you guys have in the film is palpable, and you can see a real friendship there, and it's just so much fun. It's so infectious. Really great. Now that we're out of COVID, we can say it's so infectious.
So you were filming while Here Lies Love was also doing its production. Did they happen at around the same time?
Are you talking to me?
Talking to anyone? Talking to Paulo and Dante also, and Jet. So you were doing them. Are they happening at the same time, simultaneously?
I wasn't a part of Here Lies Love, but I think Here Lies Love was actually a lot later, right? I think they started rehearsals for that maybe May or June of this year, and our show wrapped last year.
Last year. Oh, okay,
yeah.
All right.
So it was like yeah.
So you were with Here Lies Love, Paulo?
No, I was with Funny Girl. I was with Funny
okay,
Girl
all right.
on Broadway. Yeah.
So Dante, are you working on any project right now?
Yes, I'm always working on something where we're actually writing the sequel to Fabulous Filipino Brothers 2 at the moment. And I'm also working on a one-man show right now, From Rufio to Zuko.
Is that in California?
That'll be touring once we get it up next year, but we're in workshop mode right now.
Okay, great.
I would have wanted to ask Kevin, but maybe Jet or any one of you could answer. Like, how was his preparation to be working with Filipinos? He was actually very funny and very
He is. I mean, I actually let him and Dante meet up in LA before he came to New York, and I think that happened, right, Dante? You and Kevin hung out first.
Yeah, and we have some mutual friends, and Kevin's a great guy, but he was just he kind of knows about the community, and he's just a great guy. He's like Geneva said, he's a gentleman and just a fun guy, throws himself into it, and things that he was maybe uncomfortable with or not like he's just not afraid to ask like bluntly about things, and so he's really fun to get along with, and we had a great time, and he just kind of embodied the character.
I'm actually surprised with Kevin, the way, because this is his acting debut, and you wouldn't believe it when you see the movie. So he was actually one of the surprises in the movie for me, professionally wise, because I wasn't expecting anything, and especially when with the scene with him and Geneva, when Geneva came back to the restaurant. And I just told him about the trigger to apply his relationship with Yvonne, his current girlfriend, and that how they got back together as second chances. So, and he got it right away, and that was amazing.
Oh, well, thank you so much, everyone, for we're gonna actually almost at end. I'm sorry. I know we're having so much fun, um, but we do have to end. I do want to say thank you to all our special guests, um, and we have time for one question, which is, if you could describe the movie in one word, what would it be? Geneva, one word.
Hilarity.
Okay, Dante.
Calamity.
Hello.
Shenanigans.
I love it. Okay, so many thanks to all of our viewers for your continued support for Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Sa ulitin. Until next time, from Makilala TV.